Hi, I'm Dr. Luke Bastian. I'm a local chiropractor with the Rotary Club of Templestowe, and Connecting Manningham have asked me to present to you how to be kind to your spine. I've been in Manningham for more than 25 years and just want to share some of my tips that will be helpful to you. So there's only really one good reason that it's good to be kind to your spine, and there's plenty of reasons not to, but I'm sure your own experiences have worked out what works and what doesn't. One good reason is you've got to look after it forever. It's got to last you a lifetime. Anything worth doing is not always easy, so there's no shortcuts. There's plenty of ways to do it wrong, and I'm sure you've had experience in that, and that's what keeps me busy in practice day in, day out. There's people looking for help to try and reconnect with their body and to respect their role in taking care of their own health. I suppose I should define what the spine is and what it does. It really only has three big roles. It supports us, it provides movement, which is why there are 24 individual parts to it, and it protects our nervous system, which is the thing that communicates between our brain and our body. It's pretty paramount. My friends at Generations Dental, which you'll probably be hearing from soon, once said to me that I only need to brush the teeth that I want to keep. The principle's the same with your spine. You only need to look after it as long as you want it working. So my top three tips for looking after your spine basically come down to working, resting and playing. So I'm dividing your day up into thirds. The tip for working comes down to not sitting for too long and avoiding compound movements, and I'll tell you what that all means. So most work, unless you're an astronaut, you have to deal with gravity. So whether you're sedentary or you're a labourer, everything comes down to how much you keep your spine moving. And if you start losing that, your spine's not very happy. So whether you're building, you're driving, you're looking after kids, you're caring in a hospital, you're labouring, everything comes down to needing movement and support. If you're not getting that, you're going to be hurting your spine. The problem with sitting for too long is that static loads are damaging to the disc, and your muscle support for your spine gets weaker and weaker. If you're labouring, you're actually far better off because you're moving a lot more than a desk operator, but you're running the risk of doing injury if you're not lifting correctly or moving correctly. So there are pros and cons for both, being more sedentary or more physical. If you're lifting correctly, you can lift quite a lot of weight. Your spine and your legs are very strong. But if you're using your back to do most of your lifting, you're going to end up with injury. Using your knees makes a lot more sense than using your spine. So your mechanical advantage of your thighs and your hips is really powerful. If you're bending at the waist, you're more likely to do serious and permanent damage to your back. Twisting is dangerous, especially if it's combining a twist with a bend or twist with a lean. So if you're going to do any sort of particular movement, try and limit it to one plane of movement, whether it be forward and back, side to side, or a rotational plane. Don't combine them, that's where you end up in trouble. And if you're sitting for too long, you're going to end up with big issues. So try and break up your seated chunks into smaller time frames. The easiest way to do that is to drink more water, because your kidneys and your bladder are a perfect time scale that'll force you to get up out of your chair more often. If you find you're sore after wearing a backpack for too long, make sure you get it fitted. If you don't know how to access a child in a capsule in your car, make sure you ask for help how to do that. If you need to crack yourself to get relief, then ask someone for assistance. They're all signs that your spine's starting to show glimmers of not being happy and healthy, and there are ways around it. Resting. We're supposed to sleep for about 8 hours a day. It's a third of our life. Comes down to 4 months of the year, 2 years, every 7 years, and that's how long a mattress is supposed to last. So for every life of mattress, you've probably been in it 2 years long. So it's why you should change them My big tip for rest is to buy the best mattress you can afford. Your bed's good for a couple of things, but reading's not one of them. You don't want to read in bed. You want to wake up rested, relaxed. You shouldn't have a dent in your mattress. If you're waking up and tossing and turning all night, that's a good sign that your mattress is not supportive for you. The mattress has to do two things. It has to be supportive and comfortable. There's no point having a mattress that's awesome for your back, but you don't get comfy to sleep on it. Having something that's really comfy but it's not doing you any favours is also a bad trade-off. So you need to find a bed that's fitted to you for your needs and for your comfort levels. And don't hang on to it too long. It's a false economy. A pillow is a much quicker thing to turn over. You should turn over your pillow every couple of years, and it also needs to fit your body. There's no one size fits all. Everyone's pillow has to either fit your shoulder width or fit behind your head. So your sleeping posture has a big role to play in finding a pillow that suits. If you're a back sleeper, you need the curve at the base of your neck to be supported. If you're a side sleeper, you need this big gap here supported so that you can lay on your side without having it leaning too far or rolling your shoulder behind you and then ending up on your tummy. So a pillow is a very personal item and it needs to be turned over regularly, more. So about 3 or 4 times for every mattress. So don't skimp on a pillow. Don't think that as it's getting more and more old, it's doing you any favours, because it gets narrower and narrower and then it's not helpful. Make sure you test drive your mattress. Don't buy it and then sit on it for 5 minutes and think, oh yeah, this will be comfy. All right, work, rest, now play. Play is an important part of our brain development. We need to have recreation from an emotional perspective. A lot of play can come down to sport and activities. Depends on what you're doing. Some people's version of play is mahjong or canasta. Some people it's sport, tennis, footy, whatever. There's pros and cons for both. Leisure time is useful, whether it be exercise or not. But I'm going to focus mostly on the exercise stuff because that's more to do with spinal function. So, someone once told me that when we get old, we move a lot less. I believe that we get old because we move less. The more we can keep active throughout our lives, the more our muscles stay functional and our bone density stays high, and the feedback from every little joint in our spine reminds the brain of what the body's doing. And it produces endorphins when we exercise. It's good for our heart. It's good for our lymphatic system. It's good for circulation and digestion. There's no function in the body that isn't stimulated by neural feedback, and a lot of that comes from movement and exercise. And our body's designed to be upright and mobile. We're not meant to be sedentary. We produce endorphins when we get our heart rate up, and we lose weight when we produce carbon dioxide. So playing is an important part. So my tip for play is find something you enjoy, make sure it's reproducible, and do it regularly. It doesn't have to be arduous, but find something that's fun. So my take-home messages are: the body's a self-healing organism. It repairs itself. We start off 2 tiny cells, smaller than you can see with the naked eye, and we become this multi-trillion cellular being that is able to start the whole process again. It doesn't need any help to do what it needs to do, but it does require no interference to be able to be healthy. And that's where a bit of TLC and your common sense comes into it. The second part is that you should be building sensible movements into your work, buy the best bed you can afford, and find play that is fun for you. It'll help keep you young. You service your car and you brush your teeth, and if you be kind to your spine, it'll last you a lifetime. Thank you very much.